ARIA and VDARA. What exactly is the difference between these two properties? And perhaps more importantly, which one should you choose? On the surface, they look very similar, but in reality, they're quite different. If you don't have time to watch this entire video and you simply want a straight to the point and direct answer, then I would probably just recommend booking the property you can find a better deal on. But in terms of a more in-depth comparison, let's start with an overview of both properties. ARIA opened in 2009 and is the bigger property with a total of 4,000 rooms and suites. This is seriously an enormous resort, including 150,000 square feet of gaming space and more than a dozen restaurants. VDARA also opened in 2009 and is an all-suite property with a total of approximately 1,500 suites. VDARA was actually originally intended to be a condo property, all condos, but due to the recession, MGM ultimately decided to convert almost all of them, about 90% of them, into hotel suites. VDARA is also a non-gaming and non-smoking property. There's also quite a big difference in terms of dining options between these two properties, which we'll talk about momentarily. But first, let's compare the rooms and suites. The base room at ARIA is called the deluxe room, and it's actually relatively large, coming in at about 520 square feet. You have floor-to-ceiling windows and a somewhat luxurious bathroom featuring granite as well as a bath and shower combo. ARIA also has the newer Sky Suite portion of the property, which feels much more modern and in line with what you'd want from a 5-star property. These rooms and suites are located in a separate part of the hotel, and you'll also have access to a dedicated lounge with complimentary refreshments, which is definitely a nice touch. If possible, this is definitely, I think it goes without saying, this is definitely where you want to stay if you have the option, but it's definitely not going to come cheap. I've stayed at a Sky Suites room. It was amazing. Additionally, I've also stayed in a panoramic suite, which was actually surprisingly not located in the Sky Suites portion of the property, but it did still have that same newer Sky Suites decor. And as you can see in the video here, this was an incredible suite. Definitely would recommend it. Amazing views from that panoramic suite. VDARA, on the other hand, as mentioned, is an all-suite property, although frankly I'm not quite sure if the base studio suite fully qualifies as a suite. It is 582 square feet, which is quite spacious and larger than ARIA's base room, but there's no closed-off bedroom, as I think you'd hope in a suite, so to speak. There's only a divider between the bedroom and living room. But it is certainly more space, which is nice. Besides having more space, one of the advantages of the base suite at VDARA is you also have the possibility of getting a fountain view, in the north strip facing view, which simply isn't possible at ARIA because Cosmopolitan, which is right next to ARIA, is blocking the north-facing views. All VDARA suites also have at least a small kitchen and everything that comes along with that, including a refrigerator, stove, sink, and microwave. Beyond the base studio suite, VDARA also has a range of other suites. Many of them are very nice, as you'd imagine. In my experience, another benefit bonus of staying at VDARA, in my experience, is that it tends to be slightly easier to get upgraded. That could have just been my personal luck, but in my experience, it is a little bit easier to get upgraded at VDARA. in terms of the options that you could get upgraded to, the executive corner suite is surrounded by windows, fully leveraging the space and giving you really spectacular views of the Strip. I've stayed in that particular suite twice and would highly recommend it. It's an amazing suite. Next, let's talk about the dining options at both properties, starting with VDARA, where you only have really two options. The first option is called Vice Versa, which is an aesthetically stylish lounge and restaurant located right off the lobby. With its laid back and casual atmosphere, I think this is an excellent place to enjoy a comfortable, low-key dinner. The second option is the Market Cafe, where you'll find sandwiches, salads, and desserts, as well as other items you'd expect to find at a convenience store. And really, that's it. You only have those two options, and it really pales in comparison to ARIA, which has arguably, I'd say, one of the best restaurant lineups on the Strip, including John George's Steakhouse, Carbone, Bardot, Javier's, Lemongrass, Blossom, Catch, Julian Serrano Tapas, Cathedral, Moneyline Pizza, Posh Burger, and the Cafe. It's a long list. I think that's all of them. There's also the new food court, which replaced the buffet. So there's a ton of options. There's really no comparison in terms of dining options between the two properties. Really, same thing with the casino. While VDARA has no casino, ARIA has a massive casino. Let's briefly talk about the location of both properties. They're right next to each other, so it's essentially, for all intents and purposes, the same location. But the difference is that at ARIA, you're directly next to Park MGM, which can be nice since Park MGM has additional dining options, as well as a casino with lower minimums for table games. You're also right next to the Shops at Crystal. Shops at Crystals, I think, is the technical name of it. Shops at Crystals, not the Crystal Shops. At VDARA, on the other hand, the distinction is you are slightly back, a little bit further from the Strip, but on a positive, you are closer to both Bellagio and Cosmopolitan. And with the new walkway that was recently completed, both of these properties and really everything they have to offer are extremely accessible. It will literally take you about 5 minutes to walk to either Bellagio or Cosmopolitan from the VDARA lobby, maybe 10 minutes if you're walking slow. Now, next, let's look at the pools at both properties. ARIA has a huge pool complex with multiple pools, including the Sky Pool, which is the nicest pool, although it's typically reserved for those staying within the Sky Suites or for those with status. VDARA only has one relatively small pool, but it is quite nice. It's located on the 3rd floor and has a cool view facing towards ARIA. A bonus here, though, is that if you're staying at VDARA, you also have access to the ARIA pool complex. And lastly, let's briefly cover the fitness center at both properties, starting with ARIA, where you can probably guess by now that it's a lot bigger and more comprehensive than what you'll find at VDARA's gym. VDARA's gym really can't compare, as you can see in the video here, but I'd say it's still more than sufficient, still relatively nice for a hotel gym. And another thing that's nice is, like the pool, if you're staying at VDARA, you also have access to ARIA's fitness center. So which property comes out on top? Well, I hate to be anti-dramatic, but I'm not quite sure if there's a clear winner. It really is subjective. Of course, if you just want to stay within the confines of one property, then ARIA would be the obvious winner. You have a huge casino, more restaurants than you can try in a week, a huge pool, as well as a good nightlife scene. Yes, that's right. I forgot to mention nightlife since I don't really party too much these days. But ARIA does have a big nightclub as well as a few popular bars throughout the casino. VDARA, on the other hand, does have its one lounge, but really it has virtually no nightlife. But what it does have going for it is a slightly more laid back ambiance, which I think can be a positive. And the base suite at VDARA is bigger than the base room at ARIA. Plus, you have the chance for an epic north-facing strip view with the Bellagio fountains. Yeah, there isn't much to do at VDARA, frankly, but you're right next to Cosmo and Bellagio, not to mention ARIA and everything we just talked about. So I don't think the answer is that black and white, which is why I said at the beginning of this video that the best answer is probably just to book whichever property you can find a better deal on. Now, with that said, if you want the best experience and price isn't a factor, then a room or suite within the ARIA Sky Suites is going to be your best option. But if we're talking base rooms, I kind of lean towards VDARA, simply because I love that north-facing strip view, as well as being right next to Bellagio and Cosmo. Plus, I can still go to ARIA's pool and fitness center. But really, it's still kind of a toss-up. What about you? I'm curious to hear your thoughts if you've stayed at either one of these properties and which one of them you prefer. Make sure to leave a comment below. And if you want to watch another one of these comparison videos, then check out this one right here. Just go ahead and click the thumbnail appearing on your screen, and I will meet you there momentarily.